Welcome into Tappy Vegas, brought to you by Better and Green. Today we're breaking down Sean Brady versus Leon Edwards, a battle across the pond in London. Bobby, we are breaking down 5 fights to win the people some money. And if you want some free money in your account over at DraftKings, make sure you guys use our promo code down in the description or on our website, bettergreen.com. That's better, BETTOR green.com, so you guys can win some money over there. We'll also have multiple MMA DFS articles coming out and my women's plus 3.5 betting lines. How's that turning out? I think I might have found something interesting after this last fight, Bobby, and it'll be coming out Friday when this video comes out. Bobby, let's get into this first fight, man.
Jordan Vucenic versus Chris Duncan. Exciting fight. I'm a big Jordan Vucenic guy. I also like Chris Duncan too, but unfortunately, where you're getting Chris Duncan at a plus 350, you're getting Vucenic at minus 455. I can't really disagree with that. Vucenic is a guy that I was covering ever since his debut last August against Guram Kutateladze. I'm going to repost that article on Friday for you guys that I did about Vucenic. And yeah, even though Vucenic lost that fight, it was his very first UFC fight. So they, clearly think very highly of him to instantly put him up against Guram Kutateladze in his debut last August. It was a unanimous decision loss, but very competitive fight. Vucenic was always in it the whole time. Definitely gave Guram a lot of problems. And yeah, the thing I like about Vucenic is he has really good striking. He has really good grappling. He's a very well-rounded guy. He's very tricky. He does a lot of interesting things with that article. I encourage you to read it when I re-release it tomorrow, because it pretty much is a nice breakdown of Vucenic's game and why I'm so high on him and why I don't disagree at all with him being such a heavy favorite with this minus 455 line. And you can also see it with the percent of bets placed, right? You got 82% on Vucenic. You got 18% on Chris Duncan here. So unfortunately, you're not really going to be doing too much unless you pick an actual method for Vucenic. Decisions plus 200, subs plus 180, KO TKOs plus 330. I don't know if I'd necessarily be confident enough to go with a method. I mean, Manuel Torres was able to sub last February. He was able to get the sub on Chris Duncan. You got left hook finish from Vyacheslav Borshev in October 2021. But other than that, Chris Duncan's pretty solid in the UFC. I mean, he got his Contender Series contract in 2021. So no discredit to him, man. But he was on a 4-fight win streak before he suffered that rear naked choke loss. Just beat Blachowicz round 1 guillotine this past September. So don't sleep on Chris Duncan either. I actually like him quite a bit as well. It's just when we're going to massacre up-and-coming prospects and you have to kind of cannibalize them, feeding them to each other like this, I got to go with Vucenic. I mean, the grappling is just extreme. That is like a big thing that I talked about in that article, was how much I really enjoy the grappling of Vucenic. And I mean, before the UFC, he was on a 4-fight finish streak, only making it to round 2, 2 rear nakeds, a Kimura, a guillotine. The guy is just a hell of a grappler. I just can't say enough. So definitely check that article out. So yeah, I mean, actually, now that I kind of look more into it and kind of start making a final decision, I actually like Vucenic by sub at plus 180 to kind of take the sting off that money line. And also knowing Duncan has been subbed before, and that was a loss that kind of ended that 4-fight win streak. I really like that a whole lot. And yeah, I think since Vucenic unfortunately already lost that debut against Kutateladze, I think the UFC is going to want to give him a nice, exciting fight, but one that's also very winnable for him to build that confidence back up, or at least I would hope, right? I hope the UFC, for all of its flaws lately and all of its lack of talent promotion and, effective career management of their guys and girls they got coming into the A-League, the peak of combat sports, I would hope they're cleaning that up. Don't hold my breath, though. But you get the point. I think it's a very winnable fight for Vucenic. I think he'll get the sub. I think it'll probably be a round 2, round 3 sub. It's a 3-round fight, but I think about round 2 he'll get the sub. And unfortunately for Duncan, he'll have another loss. But he's still a bright young guy himself with a lot of potential in the division. So no shame in losing to Vucenic. At least that's how I hope it plays out. What do you think?
I see it very similar to you. We both like both these guys, so it's kind of hard when you like the guys, but it does make it easier for betting wise because you're not betting with your heart; you have to bet with your brain. You said it perfectly about the betting odds. I'm seeing right now Vucenic at 82% of the bets, but 68% of the money. So a lot of sharp money coming in on Duncan, but I think that's because Duncan's not a slouch. Like usually when you see these type of odds, it's like Remy Yaya, like these like no name dudes, or no name's a little harsh, but guys that
Mhm.
you really think are going to lose. Duncan's a talented guy himself, but I just don't think he's on the same level as Vucenic. I worry because I feel like Vucenic has a lot of power in his hands too, and Duncan's really tough. So I can see this being a knockout, a decision, or a sub. I think what I would do in this scenario, and it's really ugly, especially considering he's the betting favorite and still has what 68% of the money. Like considering doing just doubling the units on Vucenic money line instead of trying to narrow it down to a method. You could do the Duncan money line if you're just looking for the bigger payout, but I would just hate to like really put all my eggs in the Vucenic basket and then kind of like hamper myself with it by picking a method. When he ends up winning, I knew he was going to win, but ends up winning in a way that I didn't pick, and I just hate when that happens. So I would probably do double units on Vucenic.
I get it. I just found my Vucenic article. What I'll repost tomorrow was I did a breakdown of Vucenic and his style and a breakdown of Kutateladze's style since that was Vucenic's debut, but I'll repost that tomorrow so that people have an idea of what my writing style is like and kind of how Jordan Vucenic fights because I'm pretty proud of my breakdown of him, when nobody really knew who he was in his debut. I'll just go over some things from that article to kind of maybe it'll help you, maybe it won't. I don't know, but I noticed that, Vucenic has an ability to switch stance a lot in his fights. He seems comfortable doing so. He prefers a body kick when he's in orthodox, but he can throw it from southpaw. And like the Kepa and the Picard fights, he has really good teep kicks from both stances. And he does his best work when he uses his striking to push the pace and back opponents up close enough to the fence to either blast into them with a takedown or trap them with their back up against it. And if he does get their back against it, he likes to transition from the striking to a clinch to get the takedown. And the Kepa fight, even when he was getting pressured, he was going backwards at an angle rather than a straight line so that he himself didn't get backed up to the fence and taken down. He's really good about circling back to the center and getting his own pressure applied again. People shoot desperation takedowns like Kepa did against him. That's how he was able to guillotine Kepa because he was getting tired of the calf kicks that he was using to kind of apply a pretty fast pace and pressure. So all that striking basically resulted in a desperation takedown from Kepa that allowed Vucenic to get a pretty easy guillotine. So he definitely is good so far, at least at incorporating his striking into his grappling and using that striking to really get his opponents, second guessing themselves and panicking. Because like when he goes for takedowns, he likes to back them up into the cage with that pressure. And like I said, if they start, doing the right thing, trying to take that pressure off by going forward again, okay, they're probably going to shoot a sloppy takedown. But if not, he presses his head into him. He drops down to a single or a double, secures it, and then he goes into the Dagestani handcuff, right? So he wraps his legs around their legs, traps the hand, and then from there starts, walking to try to – he prevents them from wall walking to try to reverse the position, prevents them from getting back up to their feet. He uses that wrist control in his arm to establish it and take that arm away so that they can't push up and try to, get back to their feet. And, they only have one free arm left to try to fend off punches and subs. And so obviously they're at a pretty huge disadvantage once it gets to that point. So,
Yeah, no, I love it. Also coming out of Cage Warriors, very very good organization. It's not like he's
yeah.
just in like some cockfighting ring in Argentina. Like this dude, he's
Right.
fighting some legit guys, some good level of competition. So I like it,
Yeah.
Bobby. I like it. You ready for me to get into this next one?
Yeah.
I don't know how ready you are, but we're gonna be talking about Molly McCann versus Alexia Thainara or
Hell yeah, dude.
Thainara. Hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
If she, we just need to make her Japanese. Alexia Thainara.
I
That'd
know,
be a pretty
right?
badass name. Molly McCann last time. Interesting fact. Both of these ladies fought Bruna Brazil, and both of them lost to her. Thainara lost by submission in round 3. McCann lost, I believe it was a decision, but that's the one where she got like beat up and hit in the core like really early on. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
in the first,
I remember
and then she
that.
just kind of stumbled around the rest of the fight. So, like,
Yeah, I was
she,
just out of it.
yeah, like she didn't get KO'd, but it was over in the first. Also got kicked in the beef curtains.
Yeah,
So,
definitely
uh,
did.
I mean, I know there's a strategy there. There wasn't any points taken away. So you and me like talking about the referees sometimes. That might be a strategy for her.
Yeah, you
I
get
mean,
3 free fouls.
yeah, yeah. After the second one, hey buddy, we're gonna have a third time. We're gonna have to talk about this. I might have to do
Hey,
something.
what did I say? What did I say? I want your fingers to the ceiling, not to the eyeballs. Do not make me say it again. Do not.
She averages almost 7 strikes per minute, 3 takedowns a fight, 100% takedown accuracy. It's a 0% takedown defense. Okay, whatever. McCann's not going to be going for takedowns. Thainara is the better grappler. I think she's got the better submission game. I do warn people, and I'm going to say these two things real quick. Molly McCann and Thainara. Thainara, 56% of the bets, 44% of the money. So we're actually seeing less than half of the money on the 2-1 favorite. Interesting there that she is the public favorite, but the money's coming in on Molly. I believe this could be a couple of reasons. It's in England, and everybody's on Molly. They think Molly is, the UFC's giving her a layup because it's in England. This is a tough fight. And I think people are seeing that Thainara is coming in on short notice too, and so they're saying short notice and is in England. And Meatball Molly is the big name. I, it's kind of hard to say because she's not the like public favorite, but since she's a money on favorite, I don't know if these are some people with deep pockets that are just putting money in the countrymen or what's going on there. And also this method that I did find about the plus 3.5 betting. So if you guys don't know about it, you're buying points on a judge's scorecard. So your fighter could still lose, but they have to win one round on each judge's scorecard or just win, a 29-28 on one scorecard and then get a round on another because they're going to add them all up at the end. You need to have by 3.5 or less points to win. The method that I found it's working when people are their over 2.5 line and their spread line are close. That's what I'm finding. So like it was 6-0 in every fight that I've been tracking since October of last year. And then it was put to the test twice last week. Once by Cachoeira and Dubin. Dubin did not pull it off, but Cachoeira did. Yeah, she had the spread line minus 165, over under 2.5, minus 215. So as long as they're close, a lot of those fights are winning. So since I did have lost, now the method is 7-1. McCann and or not McCann and McCann's lines, the spread line and the over 2.5 are a little close. I'm not gonna say they're as close as some of the others, so I might not include it, but it's close enough to like make me pause and not say go all in on Thainara. What do you think, Bobby?
Yeah, somebody who fell victim to believing in Molly McCann these last 4 fights we've covered her, if not longer. Like I started covering her. Yeah, it's going to be 5 fights actually now. I started covering her with the Aaron Blanchfield. I actually was out on her on Blanchfield. Was in for the Stoyarenko. Hell, I might have even covered the Hannah Goldie fight. That's how deep in the Molly McCann rabbit hole I am. But all I'm saying is this. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with it's in London. It's usually they try to give her layups because they know it gets the crowd hype, right? That's how she got success against Luana Carolina. It's how she got Hannah Goldie. It's a nice little appetizer for like a Leon Edwards or a Patty Pimblett main card to get people all fired up and everything and get the UK crowd going ravenous over, like you said, the hometown heroine of Meatball Molly. But it hasn't really worked out that well other than Diana Belbita last February. But other than that, in the last 5 fights I'm talking about, she's won 2, lost 3. So, yeah, it was great that she had that nice Luana Carolina KO spinning elbow, the Hannah Gody spinning elbow, but then she got subbed. This was in New York, so maybe she lost her mythical power there, but whatever. Subbed by Erin Blanchfield. But then in London, round 1, she went into the armbar from Stoyarenko instead of going away from the armbar. She tossed herself into it. Finally got the Belbita sub. That was in Vegas. And then in Manchester, she lost to Bruna Brazil. So she's kind of getting spotty in London now. I mean, I don't know. And like you said, this is a tough fight to be giving her in London against somebody who, hasn't lost in Thainara. She hasn't lost since her one loss came in 2019, early in her career, like you said, to Bruna Brazil.
Yeah,
No shame there with the career Bruna Brazil's went on to have.
right.
It just almost seems like a big ask of Molly McCann at this stage in her career, because Molly McCann is also 34, which for a women's division like that is starting to kind of get up there, unfortunately. She's 14-7, 21 total professional fights. Lost half of them, ain't killed a motherfucker yet, like Michael Johnson. Like, I don't know if it's going to start to be the beginning of the end for her when you're 2-3 in your last 5, going back almost 3 years now. It's really tough for me to just keep feeling like Molly McCann is just a locked and loaded heavy favorite on any London card to just get an easy, crazy, gimmicky spinning elbow, flying crane kick finish to get everybody jazzed up to pretend like they care about a Leon Edwards fight. Like, I don't know how much more I can keep telling myself this. So I don't know. I guess I'll go. How does Thainara primarily won? Is she kind of a decision tall? She's got rear naked, unanimous. She's probably, let's fucking be real. She's probably a decisionator when it comes to the UFC. I know this is her debut, but if there's ever a division that finishing on the regional scene, I mean, hell, we've talked about it numerous times on this show. The men even have trouble sometimes translating
Yeah.
striking finishing power and
Oh
sub
yeah.
finishes to the UFC level from the regional pros and all that. So I'm not going to get too ballsy and think that Thainara, especially in her debut, with it being on, enemy territory in London or whatever, can get it done. So I guess I'll just go money line for now.
Yep. You and me both. Uh, Patty impression. Check on your English friends.
You're a
Come
little
on.
hand sanitizer boy. Little hand sanitizer boy. What are you going to do, you little fool?
You're much better at it than I am.
Hand sanitizer boy.
How about you take the third fight away, man?
Gunnar Nelson versus Kevin Holland. Very, very interesting fight. Gunnar Nelson had a lot of momentum and a lot of hype. I mean, for all you youngins out there and all you filthy casuals and everything, Gunnar Nelson came in with Connor in the first Connor takeover of the UFC. They trained together a lot, hung out, same gym, best buds. And yeah, so I mean, we wonder if Conor McGregor's ever going to fight again, if he's just
Right.
a washed up, dried up shell of himself. Gunnar Nelson's 36, and he's coming off a really long layoff. Gunnar Nelson hasn't actually, it's not as long as I thought. Gosh, but it's just you don't hear about the dude anymore. For all the hype he came into the UFC with in 2014, when Conor brought him, when Conor brought Artem Lobov, uh, a bunch of other people that ended up unfortunately getting cut. The only one that really had that level of success was Connor, unfortunately, from that gym. But there's even more people I can't even think of. Somebody that had like a really good fight with Louis Smolka. There was like a female that they had that was really good. But anyway, yeah, dude's been around since 2012, so even before Connor. So Connor was like 2014, I believe, was his debut, and this dude Gunner's been around since 2012. And that's a lot. That's a long time to be in the UFC, let alone just competing professionally in general since 2007. 2007, 2012 in the UFC. And he started off really well, right? Like he definitely looked like he had a lot of that hype deserved and that momentum. 4 fight win streak, 3 of those by finish, because the dude's a really good grappler, right? Like he's really, really exceptional at grappling, like numerous European titles in it. World Jiu Jitsu Gi champion, silver medalist 2009 at the middleweight division, brown belt, gold at Pan American Gi, and the Gi at Pan American Championships in 2009, another gold at No Gi Pans. So, dude is a grappling savant. That's what he was known for. He doesn't have hands. The striking's not that great. No shame in losing to Rick Story. No shame in losing to Damian Maya. He's like hit or miss, but he just I don't know. Maybe it was injury, just inactivity, just really ruined his career because 2016 he only fought once, fought twice in 2015. This was when Connor was at peak Connor mania, and this guy was just like, 2-1, barely fighting. Long layoff until 2017, fought twice, only once in 18, twice in 19. Oh, it was 19 to 22. So 2019 to 2022 was a big layoff. And then, yeah, this is another layoff. So his last fight, yeah, he beat Brian Barberena with an armbar, which is great. Brian Barberena is a legend, but he's also never a guy that you think of like, man, Brian Barberena, he's really going to contend for the title. Like, no, he's going to put on great fights. It's going to be entertaining, but he's damn sure not just one of those elite level dudes. So nice to see that you can beat him, but I'm also not moved by it. So, yeah, he's had, 20, 21, 22, almost a 3-year layoff. This is going to be a 2-year layoff. Yeah, it will be 2 years because March 18th, it's March 20th, unless you're living in a parallel universe. It's already over 2 years since his last fight. So, dude's just so inactive, just hasn't really had much going, and he's 36 in a division where if you lose those reflexes and everything, it really catches up. It's not like middleweight and above. Welterweight, you can get away with a little bit, but you really start to be able to get away with that nonsense at 185 and up, and it's just I don't know, man. I don't know. I know people are really down on Kevin Holland. I get it, but I don't see how the hell you're this down on him, right? I don't see how you're so down on Kevin Holland that you're making him a plus 110 and Nelson's a minus 130. I just cannot in any universe justify a guy who has been very active to a fault. Kevin Holland's been too active, if anything, but he's 32. He's 6'3". He's a big guy. Middleweight didn't really work out. I don't know that he thinks he's going to solve his problems by bouncing back around and forth and down to welterweight for this fight. I don't think it's going to solve his problems like he thinks. But nonetheless, this guy's already massive, 6'3", huge reach, going up against a guy who does not do well striking at all. It's almost comically bad how his striking is. And Kevin Holland is a very accomplished jiu-jitsu guy in his own right, a black belt under Travis Lutter. I don't think he's going to be scared of the subs. I don't think he's going to be scared of Gunnar Nelson's hands. He's going to pressure the hell out of Gunnar Nelson. And like I said, even though it's kind of at this point a liability to be this active, I mean, it still counts for something, right? Like losing to Henry Derrida. Okay, Henry Derrida's looked pretty damn good since coming over. Losing to Dolidze is not bad. No shame in losing to JDM. That was a very close fight. Some people even scored that for Holland. I disagree, but you get the point. Michael Page, no shame. At least you can still beat up the Michelle Olajaycheks. You can beat up
Yeah.
the Chiesas, the Ponzinibios. Like he's really lost to some pretty top guys in the UFC, right? Like, I mean, his debut was against Thiago Santos. I'm not going to hold that against him on short notice, up a weight class that he's not meant for. But I mean, Brendan Allen's pretty good, perennial top 15 guy. Brunson, before he fell off a cliff when he was still with the UFC, was like perennial top 15. Vittori's a top 15. Hamzat could be champion. Thompson was perennial top 15. I already covered all the rest of the guys. Don't get me wrong. I definitely think Holland's declining. And I think all that wear and tear and all that activity is 100% catching up. But I think this is just way too much of a knee-jerk reaction to have him, as a plus 110. Is that, yeah, plus 110 to minus 1? I just don't see it. I mean, you got 67% of bets on Holland, 33% on Nelson. I totally agree with that. I don't see anything Nelson can do that's just gonna frustrate Kevin Holland. Like Michael Page, okay, Michael Page is gonna dance around, he's gonna do the robot and all this ignorant shit that's gonna piss you off. Gunnar Nelson does his best rip off Conor McGregor karate box little bouncing on your toes stance, your little Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, but he can't execute it like Conor. He can't execute it like Stephen Thompson. I just see him getting picked apart. I really Kevin Holland can do whatever he wants with them. I don't even know because you're getting KO TKO at plus 250. You're getting sub at plus 900. The only thing, even though it's a 3-round fight, I don't feel comfortable about with is I don't think it's going to be a decision. And you're getting decision at plus 450. So it's like, pick your poison. I just don't think Gunnar Nelson's going to be able to sub Holland. I definitely don't think he's going to want to stand and strike. And if he tries to get too careless and get too desperate for the takedown, he might get caught in a sub by Kevin Holland, or he might get caught with a knee or a punch or something. I find it very hard to see a way for Gunnar Nelson to win. What do you think while I'm thinking about method?
Yeah, yeah. So my thought process is that this could have been one of my favorite fights, and most confident fights, but or I should say, there is something that is scared me a little bit, but I think exactly like you do. I don't get these odds. Holland's got a much longer reach, the much more active striker. So if it does go to decision, I feel like 100% is going to Holland. Nelson doesn't even average 2 punches a minute. Like, Nelson is just so inactive. I just watched the Brian Barberena fight. Oh my God, boring. He did nothing.
Yeah.
He literally did nothing until they fell on the mat. And then he just, even getting the sub, he was slow. And that was what you said 2 years ago, which Holland
Yeah.
at the same time, I absolutely agree that, the level of activity that Holland's had can be detrimental, but at the same time, like, he's been in the fire and he's stayed in that fire. And so he's ready to go. He's fought in 2025. Like, he's fought this year already.
Right.
And it's we still have over a week left in March, which is just
Yeah.
insane. Holland's already getting back into the next fight. Nelson's been gone for so long. His style is just so slow. So lazy's not the right word, but low volume. So low
Yeah.
volume. And then you were talking about some of the wins. I noticed this one on both of their cards. Santiago Ponzinibbio,
Yeah.
like, not great, not bad. He's just kind of like one of those mid guys that's always going to be there. Ponzinibbio, Holland beat him. Ponzinibbio knocked Nelson out, or I should say, at least got the KO. It ended with punches 1 minute and 22 seconds into the first round.
Yeah, I believe there was an eye poke controversy with that. I believe people were saying that Nelson got poked right before the finish, I think if I'm remembering correctly. I could be wrong. That's
Even
going to be the cope.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be the cope. It's like, okay, people get eye poked all the time in the UFC. If you're that guy, you're gonna keep going. Holland's got that reach advantage. Who knows? Maybe Holland gets an eye poke in there and it pays out.
Yeah.
The only thing that's scaring me about this is that, once again, these odds are really weird, and people are agreeing. 67% of the bets are on Holland as the underdog, which, to see a public underdog backed that much is kind of crazy. But then to also see he's got 75% of the pot, and it keeps moving the wrong direction. Like last night, Nelson was minus 125 to Holland's plus 105. And so it's like, okay, maybe some of that money started coming back on Gunnar Nelson. I don't have it from last night where these numbers were at, but still, I mean, 75% of the money on Holland, and he's still the underdog. I mean, make this a minus 110 pick 'em. So I just don't know why Vegas has this line that way. So I'll take Holland money line.
I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, I'm just going to be on the money line with you. I might come back for a haymaker or something with this, but at least for right now, I'm just going to do money line.
I like it, man. Let's talk about this next fight. This is going to be a banger. We got Yan. Say it with me, Bobby.
Jan Blachowicz.
Carlos
Ulberg.
I was trying to think of something for him. He's just such a bitch. we
Ulberg.
we are
Carlos
not big
Ulberg.
we are not big Ulberg fans over here. Um I know I'm gonna get a little bit of shit for this. So I'm just gonna start by saying this is a Nuck If You Buck fight of the night.
Ooh.
I think Jan wins. And I don't think it's that crazy. I was watching the fight. Yeah, Blachowicz looked tired in his last fight. He's just older. He's had a lot of time off, which was one of the things we were just knocking Gunnar Nelson for. But he had like a bunch of surgeries done. I think he's coming back healthy, and I don't think we'd be seeing him if he wasn't ready to fight. Ulberg has not been tested by a guy like Jan before. Ulberg's pretty active, but I just feel like Jan, with his style coming forward, I think if he can utilize the takedowns, I think he's got a chance. We forget that Jan's last fight was against Pereira, and it looked like he definitely won the first, I would say, against Pereira. Second one probably goes to Pereira. Third one was kind of a toss-up. It went to Alex. Alex goes on to have this crazy run as champion. I know he just lost, but we can't discount all the success he had. It's like Jan was old then too, and he was just eating kicks from Pereira that these other guys are like crumpling from. I think Jan is so tough, and maybe this is just more Ulberg hate coming from me, but I'm on the Jan money line at the, what is it, plus 240. Looking at the money, 60% on Ulberg. 60%. People like him. I mean, he's the guy that's younger. He looks like he's in good shape. New Zealand guy. Minus 300 favorite. 53% of the money. So I can get 40% of the bets, 47% of the money on Jan. That's the way I'm going. I love Jan in this fight. But maybe I'm just blinded by hatred. What do you think, Bobby?
This one's probably the toughest one for me to try to get a read on because, yeah, as much as I'm not too crazy about Ulberg and just really the whole, city kickboxing group as a whole, it's tough because Blachowicz, like as you were talking about with like the Poetan fight, right, against
Yeah.
Pereira, it's dude had such an easy route to victory. Maybe it was the altitude since it was Salt Lake City. He couldn't keep
Right.
up with that wrestling heavy game plan that he was kind of implementing against Pereira because he had success. Like
First.
Pereira had no answer. And then it just seemed like that fight just slipped away from Blachowicz. Like he just couldn't keep it. He just was gasping. And then, I hate to use the Diaz brothers. If this was a 5-round fight, I would have won that shit. But it's like, if it was a 5-round fight, he probably would have gotten finished by Pereira with how bad he started to look in that second and third round. I just think it was a conditioning issue. I mean, before that, he went to a split draw with Ankalaev, TKO'd over Rakic, even though Rakic injured his knee. Lost to Teixeira, got choked out. But, I mean, he's beaten Israel Adesanya, a city kickboxing team member of Ulberg. Reyes, Anderson, Souza, Rockhold. Like, the dude's had, a career resurgence. He started off very, very, almost getting cut in the UFC when he made his debut in 2014, right? Like, he was 1-2 and on a 2-fight skid, 1-1, 2-fight skid again. And then he put together a nice little 4 fights, secured his career, lost again, and then put on a 5-fight. So the dude's definitely had a nice late career resurgence. It's good to see perseverance in the face of adversity like that. Good to see somebody, come back from the edge of getting cut from the UFC and go on to, be a champion, be a title holder, of the light heavyweight division and defend the belt and get performance bonuses. It's great, but it's tough. It's the toughest fight on here. I mean, the guy has even striking experience. He has grappling experience. He was a gold medalist in Muay Thai World Championships representing Poland in 2008, a bronze medalist in 2007. As we saw against Pereira and as we saw against Israel Adesanya, he has some really good grappling, at least, enough if somebody doesn't have grappling to really just wet blanket them. And unfortunately, it's absolutely boring and it's nothing nobody wants to watch. But hey, at the end of the day, he wins. And in this sport, you win, you get half your paycheck and more. If you lose, then you lose half your paycheck. So I can't fault him too much for that. Maybe I am being too hard on Ulberg because ever since he lost to Nchokwu in 2021, I was like, how the hell do you lose to Nchokwu? This guy's never going to go anywhere. But hey, he's proven me wrong, and he's on a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fight win streak since then. And he's finished 3, 4, 5 of those fights by a rear naked, and the rest of them KO, TKO. So dude's really another example, persevering in the face of adversity, right? You lose your debut, it'd be really easy to skid into oblivion and find your way out of the UFC. He's doing damn well, so shout outs there. I'll call it how I see it. It's tough because it is so tantalizing to take that plus 240 because I do 100% no matter what agree he should not be that much of a favorite. It should be a pick 'em. It should definitely be a lot closer, especially if he does go with that grappling heavy game plan. The only thing I could think of is maybe Blachowicz gets that advantage of this also being in Europe. And, obviously I'm assuming Ulberg, even if he's flown in to acclimate to everything, he's still coming from New Zealand. So, Blachowicz has the leg up, even training out of Poland. That's nothing to just go from Poland over to London, get ready for a fight. Not much that you have to get acclimated to there at all. This is the biggest pick 'em for me on the whole card, which is, like I said, why the odds drive me crazy. Let me see something right quick here about Ulberg. I think I'm going to go Ulberg KO TKO at plus 165. I hate it. I do, but Blachowicz is just kind of burning me, man. He really, really, I just can't stand. I am. I'm being a little too old.
Is it because
What
he's
did that dude from
40
Game of
years of
Thrones
age?
say? Yeah. 40 years of age. I like him young, dog. Like, I can't do that. Can't do that if you're almost 40. You're wearing a tracksuit and you're almost 40. Can't.
Actual fucking age.
Actual fucking age.
All right, Bobby, take away the main event, man. This is another one that I think there's going to be a lot of controversy to.
Yeah, Sean Brady versus Leon Edwards was originally supposed to be Leon versus JDM, but JDM's matched up with somebody else. I think this is a good fight, though. This is good matchmaking. Sean Brady's definitely been coming up. I definitely think he deserves to get this chance against, a lot of people have him, at least as of right now, number 2, number 3 guy in the division, Leon Edwards, the last one before Muhammad to hold the belt. And, he lost the belt to Bilal, but I am very impressed with Sean Brady, another guy that's just come in, and ever since he's been in the UFC since 2019, he's just been on tear. Right, Ismail Naradov was a good win. Jake Matthews was able to finish him. Not too impressed by Chiesa. Lost to Bilal Muhammad by TKO. That really, I did not like that. If you're letting Bilal Muhammad finish you, I thought the man was cooked. I thought he was cooked. He's not. He came back, beat Kelvin Gastelum by Kimura in round 3, just had his way with Kelvin. I watched that Gilbert Burns fight. That's what really sold me, was because Gilbert Burns is always a dangerous guy. Very, very credentialed grappler, like ADCC world champion at the bronze level, world champion 2011 in California, world no-gi gold champion, just all these accolades in the BJJ world that this man has, like a BJJ legend Gilbert Burns is. And man, Sean Brady, when I watched that fight, once again, it's like I said about Blachowicz, it was absolutely boring. Don't get me wrong. It was absolutely not good to watch him just wall and stall Gilbert Burns up against the fence. But I mean, you got to respect the fact that Burns couldn't do anything to stop it, right? Like, it sucks to watch and it's damn sure not fun for fans. But at the same time, if the guy who it's being done to can't stop it, you can't argue whether it's effective or not. It's just not exciting. So for him to just do that to to Gilbert Burns, for Sean Brady to do that against a guy who's just big for the weight class, strong guy with all this grappling accolades that you would dream of as a BJJ competitor, with the power that he has in his hands, just Donkey Konging you once he has you stunned. I really was impressed, and that was like, all right, maybe Sean Brady's having his career resurgence, right? I mean, everybody's got to lose at some point. The vast majority of fighters in the UFC have a loss at some point. Maybe this, I always talk about, maybe this was his Adriano Martins moment, like Islam Makhachev had, where you just get that weird fluke finish, and then you get past that if you can recover, and you just smooth sailing, right? I think that's what that was for Sean Brady when Bilal Muhammad TKO'd him in round two. That was just his Adriano Martins moment. I really like him in this fight. I am shocked with how bad Leon Edwards has looked. And it's not just the Bilal Muhammad fight, right? Like a lot of people started looking at, kind of how he even got the title from Usman the first time and the rematch and everything. So they fought each other 3 times. And the second fight, when he got that iconic head kick finish over Usman to get the belt, it's pretty much textbook Leon Edwards of why is this guy so out of it? What is going on? Is it the altitude in Salt Lake City? Like, where is his head? Where is his heart? And it's the same thing. Like, until he got that crazy flash head kick, he was handily on his way to losing and losing in a terrible way to Usman, right? It was going to pretty much look exactly like a repeat of the Bilal Muhammad fight. No exaggeration. That same just dazed, eyes glazed. What the hell is this dude thinking? No sense of urgency. His corner screaming at him that he needs a finish. And they came for him in the second Kamaru fight when he won the belt. And he put up a good fight in the rematch, the third fight, the rubber match. But I don't know. I've watched that fight a few times. You can make an argument either way for Usman or him. I personally was scoring it for Usman. It was a majority decision. So obviously some dissenting opinion. Kobe Covington really didn't impress me. And there were even moments where he honestly kind of looked bad against Colby. And in 2023, that's not a good look. So I really just I could see this being I just question Leon's motivation. I question where his head's at. And I just, especially if Sean Brady does try to go with that grappling heavy game plan and he does wall install and he takes a page from Bilal, takes a page from, his previous fights against Gilbert Burns, against Kelvin Gastelum with that just grappling heavy, just tie up, wall install, pressure, wet blanket approach. I think Leon's going to get frustrated. It's not going to matter that he's in London. He was in Manchester and he still lost. It's just not going to make a difference. And I think he's just going to get frustrated. He's going to get that glazed look. He's going to look lethargic like he does when he faces that adversity. And I'm not trying to be an armchair psychologist. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what's causing it. I just know it's there and it's not a damn good thing, especially when you're trying to put your money on somebody. I don't want to put my money on the guy where I'm like, is he just going to basically end up on his ass, like getting wrapped up in a Dagestani handcuff or like pressed up against the fence and just be looking at the clock the whole time like a bored fuck or something? Like, that's not what I want to put my money on, man. Is the guy looking at the clock, begging for this to be over, just hoping the ref is, pleading with the ref with his eyes to please break this up. Like, I got to see some life from Leon Edwards before I have any faith in him anymore. And especially, I feel like this should be so lopsided. I'm not even joking. I'm surprised it's not with how much people have been off on Edwards. Maybe people aren't putting their money where their mouth is online. Shocker there. But a lot of people seem to act like I do, and they're like, Leon's washed. Leon's going to just be skidding out like fake champ, got exposed. I'm seeing a lot of that. But the dude's only a plus 130 and Brady's only a minus 155. And there's actually 54% of bets on Edwards and 46% on Brady. I don't see it. I just don't. I I don't. I don't. Sean Brady just feels like honestly, Sean Brady should be the heaviest favorite on this card until I see a
Ooh.
pulse from Leon. I'm serious. I don't
Ooh.
see a pulse from Leon Edwards. And once you lose the belt, it can go one of two ways very easily. It's either a huge relief and like you feel like you can finally fight and you can enjoy fighting again because there's no longer that pressure. You don't feel boxed in to have to, act like a champ and be a champ. And it turns out to be great. Or you're like, I reached the pinnacle, right? Like I achieved the highest that's the highest accomplishment in your weight class is to be the champ. So once you take that highest high, some people, if it doesn't motivate them to go back and chase it and try to get it again, they're just like, what's my motivation? Why do I care? I've already been the champ. I don't think I'm going to get it. The last guy that beat me did it so convincingly. Now I'm having to fight my way through the gauntlet again, fighting these hungry, young, up and coming prospects like Sean Brady and God knows who else after this fight, trying to claw my way back to even be thought of in title contention after how much of a stinker I put up. You could just as easily start to be mentally defeated by that. And for a guy who I'm already having doubts about where his headspace is, and if he wants to keep doing this, and if the title means anything to him, it's just not a good place to be in.
Like, I don't want to hear a single person be like, "Oh, well, Leon's gonna know the game plan going, like, know Brady's game plan going into this." You think Leon knew the game plan for Bilal Muhammad going into it?
100%. He knew Bilal, remember the wall, was going to be doing that. He knew what Kamaru Usman was going to be doing. And like I said,
I think Brady is the more dangerous guy between him and Muhammad. Not Muhammad Usman. Him and Bilal Muhammad. I just think Brady can get submissions, and I think he actually looks better in the submission game. I don't know if he gets it on Edwards, but I just don't see. Okay, Edwards is is a striker, but strikers have been going down lately. Ask
yeah,
Alex Pereira and Magomedov. Ask Sean O'Malley and Marab. This just seems like, and I wouldn't say Edwards is as good as either of those guys. Honestly,
right.
like Edwards was always, in my opinion, when I say always, I mean, like, let's talk last year when he was still the champ. He always felt like the weakest champ that the men had at the time. So I don't have much stock in Leon Edwards. And like you said, he just feels lifeless at times. Like, just glazed over, refs screaming in his face. Like, oh well, that's what Leon needs. Like, he likes that type of stuff. I'm like, does he? Because he just looks
Right.
like he'd rather be eating a steak dinner somewhere. Like, he doesn't look like he wants to be there. So coming in
Yeah.
against a hungry Brady, looking at it, sharp money coming in on Brady. That's why I think people are seeing Edwards, like, just lost his belt. He was just champion, so he's coming off a loss. He's looking to avenge that. He's at home. It's like, so he looked terrible. And now he's
Yeah.
going against another wrestler, like Sean Woodson versus strikers. It's just the same crap we always say. Like, there's just bad matchups and good matchups. And right here's just another bad matchup for Edwards. 46% of bets, but 53% of the money. And that's at minus 155. So, like, Vegas is just fine letting Brady the favorite win here. And the public in their 47% of the pot at 54% of the bets at plus 130, like, just kiss it goodbye. I feel like Leon Edwards is going to be the last leg of a lot of parlays this weekend. I really believe so, because people are seeing him at home coming off that loss, man. It's, oh my god,
Yeah.
and I get him at plus money. Like, this is just going to, like, skyrocket my odds in my parlay, and I think that is a mistake. Because I'm with you right now. They're seeing the screen that has, like, all the strikes, takedown, average, all that type of stuff. Everything green on the Brady side. He's better in every category. He just doesn't have a belt yet.
Yeah. And like you said, I don't think he needs somebody to scream at him, because the only time it ever worked was in the very last round of the second Usman fight when he got the head kick. We have
Right.
way more examples of it failing. Like in this last fight against Bilal, his corner was doing the same thing, screaming at him, Leon, you got to do something, man. You got to get a finish, boy. What are you doing? And it's like he just sits there like he's watching Cosby Show reruns. Like, it just
Yes.
doesn't register. It just doesn't register, and he just comes out and just gets pushed up against the fence and just gets taken advantage of. So it's just hard for me to put my hard-earned money on the dude right now when he's fighting yet another wall install grappler.
No.
So,
And you know what? Brady is just fine pressuring him up against the wall. Even, like I said, if he doesn't go for the sub or go for a knockout, and just trying to fight off of that is exhausting. So trying to
yeah,
fight off a wrestler when they're just shoving you into the ground, shoving you into the wall, Okay, this is gonna be what, a 5-round fight. It might be
Yeah,
another
this is the
long
main
night.
event. 5
By the
rounds.
by the time they got to like the championship rounds for Bilal Muhammad, Edwards was just so exhausted he couldn't do anything. And
Yeah.
I I'm gonna it's hard I'm hard pressed to say it's not gonna be a repeat of what we just saw.
If one man can hold you down.
Two can feed you.
Exactly. With a spoon and airplanes.
Bobby, we give the people one big plus odd play every week to let them know, you know what? Some of that DraftKings, if you use the link in our description, you got some of that free cash sitting in your wallet. Hey, throw a little bit over here and you can get a nice payout. What are you thinking for this week? What is a big plus odd play that you like? Are you going to go the Holland route?
I think I'll do like I did last time. This will probably be the last week I do it for a little bit, but I love you guys, so I want to do something special for you. My haymaker is going to be Brady KO TKO or sub double method at plus 275. And follow on Twitter. I'll tweet out an additional nice little plus line, probably Kevin Holland related.
Brady KO sub at what?
It is currently at about plus 275.
275. All right, man. I
Plus
like it.
275.
I like it. We will have another episode for the next UFC fight card. We will see you guys then. Peace, guys.
Peace.